The Mozboss recently posted an article that upon first glance I thought was completely ignorable. It's titled, "The Helpful Content Update Was Not What You Think." But I gotta say, after I started reading, I was like, damn! Now before we get into it, let me take you back to the beginning of the story. To say the September 2023 Helpful Content Update was the worst day ever for small website owners would be an understatement. Even 3 of my websites got no cup kicked in the nuts. And although Google said this update is all about rewarding sites with original information, insightful analysis, and people-first content, the internet smelled misdirection. Namely because there are tons of websites that nailed this so-called helpful content checklist with amazing expert accounts of their respective topics, yet were still crushed themselves by that goofy-ass update. However, at the same time, you have Reddit with legit the worst content ever known to mankind getting the biggest traffic boner ever to rise. Now let's get back to the article. But real quick, I want to let you know that my SEO agency, The Search Initiative, has a $1,000 off discount going on till the end of the month. To sign up, go to searchinitiative.com, put your deets into the form, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible. Now back to the video. First off, the author Tom Capper says right off the bat, quote, "I've had a hypothesis that the HCU updates are about something completely separate from Google's messaging." Okay, I like this guy. Here's his theory. The hypothesis is that the helpful content system has something to do with the suspect ratio of search volume for a site's navigational terms to its link signals. The search volume he's talking about here is brand search volume, and if there's too little of it compared to how many links a site has, then that website had a high chance of losing traffic in the HCU update. If there was plenty of brand search volume compared to the amount of links, then the website was likely a winner in HCU. In this video, we're going to go over how my data and experience matches up to this theory, Tom's test data itself and its validity, and what you should do going forward. When I first read this, I got so excited because
I told you so, I told you so.
I've been saying this for ages. Here's one time. Brand search volume is another user signal that got massively cranked up in a recent helpful content update. Here's another. There were 4 high likelihood ranking factors that separated the winners from losers. A decent amount of brand search volume. And here's a tweet of mine saying the same damn thing. Here's the ranking factors that stand out between the winners and the losers. Brand search volume. Thank you very much. And when the helpful content update hit, like Tom, my spidey sense went haywire. So my team and I went through thousands of websites looking for correlation between the winners and correlation between the losers. And of everything I found, brand search volume stood out as the most, being something that the winners had in plenty and the losers sadly didn't. That being said, Tom's theory and my theory aren't exactly the same. My first pass study just looked at brand search volume. Tom is comparing brand search volume to link volume. We'll look at his testing methodology and data soon to see if it makes sense, but I totally get where he's coming from by adding in links. If you look at the helpful content documentation, there's a section here telling you it's a big no-no to create search engine first content. Now, while this document says you shouldn't over SEO your content, if you've been doing SEO for longer than a week, you'd already know that Google's ability to judge good versus bad versus over SEO'd content is completely questionable. Judging content algorithmically and at scale is hard, so the algorithm does what it's always done. It relies on links for its decisions. That's probably why Tom said, if you have lots of links over SEO'd and not much navigational interest in your site, you probably don't deserve to rank as well. By the way, here's a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Search Intelligence.
This campaign got us big links in websites such as Lifehacker, Wales Online, Daily Record, and about 20 other news websites. Let me show you how we've done it. We knew that people will be flying a lot this summer, and we knew that journalists will be writing about this topic a lot. So, on behalf of our client, we put together a nice guide about how to fall asleep on the plane. Then we use Muckrack to find journalists who write about travel. Then we put our advice in a nice email and send the tips to the journalists. Within just a few days, the links started landing, securing our client natural placements in really big websites, just like this, and this. This is a great example about how you can leverage seasonal trends to earn links to a website. Anticipate what journalists want to write about at all times and give them the stories that they need. They will reward you with some great, juicy links. I hope this is helpful.
Now back to the video. All right, let's get into the data. Is this correlation study legit? First off, Homey works for Moz, so they're using Moz metrics for brand search and link authority. Namely, brand authority, which is mostly comprised of navigational brand search volume, and domain authority, which is a measure of the quantity and quality of all the links to a site. They looked at 1.9 million US websites for nationally tracked keywords. For the control periods, he tracked keyword rankings from August 30th to September 13th, 2023, the day before the Big Mama HCU update. Then again, January 18th to March 4th, right before the merged core and HCU tag team update. Here's what he found. Winners had an average domain authority of 64.02 and near equivalent brand authority of 51.94, giving them a ratio of 1.4. But the ratios had a DA of 57 and a much smaller average BA of 37, giving the losers a ratio of 2.0. Bigger isn't good here. If you want to view this graphically, the scatter plot shows that winning and neutral sites had about the same ratios, but the losers are the clear outliers. For any given DA, an HCU loser has a lower BA. I have 3 sites that got hit by HCU. Here's how their numbers matched up. Site 1, DA of 53, BA of 19, ratio of 2.79, f*** my life. Site 2, DA 38, BA 1, what the f***, ratio of 38. Site 3, DA 40, BA 1, ratio of 40. So at least anecdotally, my personal sites align with correlation data. Now I know what the comment trolls might be thinking.
Google doesn't use brand authority or domain authority in its algorithm.
Literally no one is saying that, so you can relax if you can. But according to these numbers, BA, or let's just call it brand search volume compared to links, does correlate. Of course, with every correlation study, there arises questions of causation correlation issues. It's quite possible that sites with higher brand search volume also have better user engagement signals, and it's really just about user engagement. I'm not in the haterade camp on this one though. I already had a hunch that brand search volume was involved, so my hungry, overinflated ego is satisfied and won't let me believe anything else otherwise.
Are you serious?
Just kidding, no, I really think this study was done the right way and is worth taking action on. What's the worst that could happen? You end up with more people searching for your brand? Oh, fuck me, not that. Alright, so here's a list of stuff we've been working on to increase brand search volume for sites. And I'm gonna list these off in increasing levels of black hat naughtiness. The Snow White Hat stuff works, but it's the slowest and least effective. That said, it's the safest. General content marketing will get people searching for your brand. If you're out guest posting on trafficked websites or appearing on podcasts, people are gonna search for you. Influencer marketing works a bit better. If you can get people to mention your brand to followers, then it's a quick shortcut to search volume. And my favorite is paid ads. People see my ads for the Affiliate Lab, for example, and maybe they're like, nah, I'm not clicking on this and getting my ass retargeted for the next year. But they're curious, so they instead go Google Affiliate Lab reviews, and voila, brand search volume. By the way, if you need help with paid ads, check out my agency, Diggity Media. We're good. Real good. Now for the gray black hat stuff, put up job listings for your website on various job boards. Tell them to apply, search for your brand name, and then they click on the jobs link in the nav bar. Also, there's clickbots, bots that will search for whatever you want and click on whatever you want. But not all are created equal. Some will traffic boner you out the top of your monitor, others will get you penalized. I'm putting together a full deep dive video on how to implement all these tactics, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it.